One NFL insider says the Jets next year might put together some kind of dream team. We'll talk about who's on that team. The Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, live on a Wednesday, starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. 'Cause when it goes for, it's always coming through. And Boy Green is always on the scene. And what they'll always bring to the live streaming. So get ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, everybody, welcome aboard. It's our Wednesday live show, Manchild Show. As Jim the Manchild Lurch, Paul Boy Green Eston Jr. here, getting things kicked off on a Wednesday, and a beautiful day it is here in central New York. I hope you're experiencing the same lovely weather that we are here in late August. Always depressing once we get past my birthday in August, PG, in terms of summer ending, but then exciting in terms of football beginning. And man, this is a fascinating story that we're going to lead with today, and we'll bring in our NFL insider, Matt Lombardo, in just a second, about the Jets maybe doing something unbelievably magical next year to put something together that would immediately make them competitive, theoretically. Before we bring Matt in, want to tease it a little? Go ahead. I'll give it to you here in a second.
Yeah, so my phone was blowing up in between. Wait, oh yeah, we did Bud Poliquin. I was like, what other show did me and you do together earlier? I'm like, oh yes, Bud Poliquin.
Brunch with Bud. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny today.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
funny.
was. It's a good episode. I believe that's already up on the channel. So no, my phone was blowing up of like Paul, Lamar, Tomlin. I'm like, what are you people talking about? And Jason Lockenfora, who was once at NFL Network, he was at CBS Sports. Now he's on some casino website. Whatever the case, hey, different strokes, different folks. Wherever you gotta, pay your bread. He had this column, and we'll talk about it on today's show, about how the Jets next year, because why not already think about next year on August 26th, apparently, is that, hey, the Jets apparently are already doing homework. The Jets, specifically Woody Johnson, is looking into the Mike Tomlin possibility. He is retired right now. The Steelers moved on and hired Mike McCarthy, and the Jets are already doing homework on Mike Tomlin, and if they acquire Mike Tomlin, it could lead to Lamar Jackson, who's under contract with the Baltimore Ravens for the next 2 years, 2026 and 2027. Some Mondo all-star team, dream team, as you put it, could be assembled for the Jets. And again, checks notes 2027, even though we're like 2 weeks away from the start of 2026. But
it's like a vote of confidence for their head coach.
Yeah,
All right, we'll
great.
get into that story and much, much more. Let's bring in our NFL insider from between the hash marks, the one, the only, Mr. Matt Lombardo. What's up, Matt?
Manchild Boy Green, how's it going? Hey, breaking news before we get into whatever this is. It arrived.
Look at him.
We have the La Colombe
Beautiful.
cold brew coffee in the 12 MC Manchild S glass. It is here.
Pint glass. Look at that,
Beautiful.
baby. Ooh,
Nice
that
swig. Nice
delectable,
swig there,
baby.
too.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Well, the only thing more delicious than that, Matt Lombardo, is when 12th man-children gifts are handed out in the audience, baby. So hit it.
Hell yeah.
All right, a little video to go along with that. How about this one
You
from
know
Terry?
you need a cover sheet on your TPS reports, Richard. That ain't new, baby.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Janice. Mother.
Hey, Janice.
There you go. 4 raffle tickets for our number one Austrian Jets fan. Beautiful already right there, which is fantastic. So you love to see it. And by the way, that membership, which was gifted out to the audience, went to YouTube's loading up here. Let's see. Devin Chafin, an Ohio native. Welcome to the 12th man children. I don't really know how to say that in a plural way. Like, welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club. It's sort of universal.
Yeah.
So 12th man, welcome to the man child. Like, 12th man. So we're working on that. That's going to workshop. Yeah.
It is what it is, as they say. All right, Matt, let's talk about this dream scenario first. The Jets actually looking potentially at Mike Tomlin and what his availability might look like next year. And could Mike Tomlin, dare I say, get together with his old arch enemy in terms of quarterbacks? And that, of course, is Lamar Jackson. What do you make of this? Is this just dreaming, California dreaming here, Matt? Or could this be based in reality?
Listen, I reached out to a league source about this 5 minutes before we went on the air, which is about when Boy Green sent me the text, and I got back 4 words. It seems far fetched. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't doubt for a moment that Woody Johnson and the Jets would be doing due diligence with Mike Tomlin. You have to. Mike Tomlin's a future Hall of Fame head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach, perennial playoff contending head coach, all of those things. Obviously, it's no secret that Aaron Glenn enters this season on the hot seat with the New York Jets. So, doing your due diligence and having conversations and back channeling, I understand that. But I don't think there's any universe where there's any sort of deal that's close for Mike Tomlin to wind up in Florham Park. I don't think that Mike Tomlin would necessarily be looking at the Jets and saying that's the situation that I absolutely have to go to, if for no other reason. I don't know that he would sign up from working for the stability of the Rooney family ownership to the abject insanity of working for Woody Johnson. That's the first part of this.
Yeah.
Now, the Lamar Jackson part of this, I look, I don't know what to make of something like this because Lamar Jackson, I know from talking to people when I was in Baltimore, there's an urgency for them on their side to get a long term contract done. That in a lot of ways, the uncertainty about Lamar Jackson's future with the Ravens has held up some of the things that Baltimore has wanted to do because they have to plan for whatever that number is going to be. But the problem is, Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent. So you don't have the traditional negotiations between general manager, head coach, the agent for the player. So if anything is happening here, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if somebody leaked this to Jason La Canfora to try to put a bug in Lamar Jackson's ear of, listen, we got to get serious about these contract negotiations because I don't see any world where they let Lamar Jackson shake loose. And I don't think that barring some package of 3 first-round picks plus, that the Ravens would trade Lamar Jackson to the New York Jets.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces here. So the Lamar, from reading this story from Jason Lockenfor, if you're just joining us, the Lamar thing seems much more speculative. That it's like, hey, if this happens, whoa, maybe this could happen. They've got picks and money. Like, so I want to put the Lamar Jackson thing to the side for a second. The one that Jason Lockenfor is displaying as more reporting is numerous well-placed league sources close to NFL ownerships groups, including teams whose current head coaches are on fire or under the hot seat, state that preliminary groundwork for a potential pursuit of Mike Tomlin is already underway in East Rutherford, obviously referencing the Jets, not the Giants. They already pulled that off. So like that part to me is like interesting. Now, I just spoke to, it's funny, last week was Jets Steelers. So I talked to an expert of each team before the game, and we weren't doing much preseason X's and O's. So I asked Alex Kozora of Steelers Depot, who's covered the team forever, said, hey, would Mike Tomlin even come out of retirement in general? He just went into retirement. Is this like a quick thing? What do you think is going to happen? And I said, more importantly, what about the contract situation? He had a year left on his, well, technically 2 years left on his deal, 2026 and 2027. What does that mean? Is he a free agent? Is he need to be?
It was a
traded
mutual
for?
parting of the ways, so it gets kind of complicated there. It's
That's
not
what he
like
said.
the Rooney family fired him, so that's kind of gray area as far as Mike Tomlin's future. And the Jets might wind up if this goes down the road here, they might wind up owing the Steelers some sort of compensation to trade for Mike Tomlin. And again, I don't doubt that there's back channel conversations. I don't doubt that there
Sure.
might be taking of the temperature from Woody Johnson's perspective, because that's just the way Woody Johnson operates. But if this is happening now, 2 weeks before week one, when you have a head coach on the roster in Aaron Glenn, and you conducted this so haphazardly that it got reported, to me, that's open sabotage on your current head coach and your current roster. And there's no real excuse for that. And it just goes to speak to the dysfunction of Woody Johnson as an NFL owner.
Well, two things here. First off, my Steelers guy does not believe there would be compensation at this point. He says there's the complicating factor is 2027 is a team option. Can you utilize team option for rights? So he said that one's more murky with the NFL rules. So he said he's not sure at this point. So take that for whatever you will. But again, looking into it makes sense. Jason La Canfora, and I don't like bashing reporters on here. His hit record is a little suspect on things that he's sort of shared. So whether or not he got this real scoop and it's something or it's nothing, I guess that's up to, the viewer. The, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess, from that perspective. But if I'm Aaron Glenn, this just sucks to even read, whether it's come from Jason, Adam Schefter, or anybody in the universe, because it's sort of that kind of story. But come on, Matt, for goodness sake. What is it? Let me see. Half week one. We're 2 weeks away from the season opener, for God's sake. Can we wait a couple of months? If Aaron Glenn goes 0-7, can we wait for these stories on August 26th? 3 days after Manchild's birthday, for Pete's sake? Can't they show some reference? Can't they show some respect? Jeez.
After I was, roasted on a pike on Sunday morning on the Boy Green Daily Show, talking about the future of the New York Jets, I'm not sure how we can turn the page and think about what's going to happen with the future of the Jets from some other report. Yeah, listen, again, I think there's back channels. I think there's conversations. I don't doubt that the Mike Tomlin conversation happens. But the Lamar Jackson thing, I don't know where you even pull that from the ether, because I really don't think that the Ravens are intent on letting Lamar Jackson go. I think that they would rather come to the table, have the conversation, get that long-term contract worked out, which is what I've heard, from people in and around that organization. And I certainly don't think that if they're going to trade Lamar Jackson, even for 3 first-round picks next year or 3 first-round picks plus, I don't know that you trade him within the AFC, because if you're trading Lamar Jackson to the New York Jets on a roster that has Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and Omar Cooper and a loaded defense now with some playmakers at all 3 levels, you're then talking about the Jets. They're now a team you'd have to deal with in the playoffs. You'd then have to deal with Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. And I just don't get the sense that the Ravens think that low of Lamar Jackson, that they're saying like, yeah, we don't care. We think you stink. We're going to throw you, and we know we'll beat you in the playoffs. I just don't see that being an outcome to how this situation plays out.
And to get Lurch involved here on the Lamar element, the only thing I guess Lamar has going for him is he has a no tag clause in his deal. So if he really wants to play it out, he could say, hey, Ravens, there's nothing you can do about it. If I just play out, screw your contract extension. I got 2 years left of my $260 million deal. I'm playing out 2026. I'm playing out 2027. And I've got a path as a under 33-year-old at that moment in time to be an unrestricted free agent and hopefully get like the craziest contract in NFL history as a 2-time NFL MVP, and who knows whatever he's going to do in these next 2 years. That's where it gets interesting. Manchild, what the Jets are trying to do here is apparently copy the Giants, because that's also in Jason La Canfora's report, is having John Harbaugh in town. And what the Giants were able to do is like, what he's like, ooh, I want my version of that, which would make sense in Mike Tomlin. Would that be the same ripple effect to you, Harbaugh coming, because they're very similar in a lot of ways? Super Bowl winning coach, but the Super Bowl was a long time ago. A lot of winning seasons for Mike Tomlin. He's never had a losing season. Do you think they would have the same splash that Harbaugh had this offseason the Jets did Tomlin next year?
Yes. Tomlin's a phenomenal coach. I don't care what anybody says about him. I don't want to hear about the lack of success, dare I say, in the playoffs. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a great leader of men. He builds a winning culture. And if I'm the Jets, in all honesty, to just kind of address this rumor, okay, essentially this idea that La Canfora has put out there, true or not true, it's fun to talk about stuff like this anyway.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
Yeah, the show today anyway, right? If I'm advising the Jets, not that they need my advice, but here they're going to get it anyway, whether they like it or not. Okay, the Jets, they're stockpiled with draft picks. Okay,
yep.
They can go get the quarterback of their dreams, and they may even have the choice of which one because of all the assets they potentially have to get up as high as they need to. Okay, they might even need to if they don't have a good season this year. They might be near the top, but if they're not, they have the resources to get there. Okay, and get the guy that they want. You get that guy for 4 to 5 years on a cheapo deal while you can build out the rest of your roster. Why would you give that up even to get a guy of Lamar's caliber? I mean, to me, Lamar is, if he's not at the pinnacle now, he's clearly about to go over the edge and start heading down. Okay. At some point, this happens with quarterbacks. They get old enough. How old is Lamar? I don't know off the top of my head.
He is 29. He turns 30 in January.
He's about to turn 30, and he's still got good years left in him. Don't mistake, don't mistake what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Why? When you can have a guy for the next 4 to 5 on a super reasonable deal, okay? Now, I understand it's risk reward, right? I mean, because you don't hit all the time. Teams don't hit, okay? Is that what you're smirking about, Matt? I see you smirking over there.
Yeah, I'm saying he's Lamar Jackson.
Keep building it. Don't do the quick fix Aaron Rodgers thing all over again. I know Lamar's not Aaron, two different things, but kind of a similar equation. It's what my Knicks did for years. Let's go get Anthony Hardaway, even though he's washed up. Oh, let's bring in this guy. Let's bring in that guy. What do we do? Nothing. He stunk. Don't do that.
Here's the problem. One, Lamar Jackson's a 2-time MVP, 29 years old, still on the right side of 30. You're going to have a 3-year window of him being one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league as a floor, right? And I'll take my chances with the young talent they have around him with a top 10 quarterback with Lamar Jackson's ability in that window. Number two, I get it from a financial standpoint that you have your window to win when your quarterback is on your rookie deal, and it's harder to win when you pay the quarterback the mega bucks. But the Jets already have most of that young core in place. The only reason you make this kind of trade is because you're looking at the landscape around the NFL draft and how much harder it's getting to find first-round quarterbacks. I mean, I talk to executives about this all the time. This past year, going into the draft, I had a scouting director tell me that it's a quarterback crisis in the NFL because of the way college football is changing. You have quarterbacks staying in college longer, transferring from program to program. You're not getting a great read on these kids. They're not developing within one system or one set of coaching. It's a lot tougher to find a quarterback. So if you're not going to need that rookie contract window as you continue to draft and build players around him, I can't sit here and poo-poo the idea, if I'm the New York Jets, of trading for a Lamar Jackson or a Joe Burrow. Paul, I listened to the end of your show after I got off on Sunday from our conversation, and there's Jets fans who are like thumbing their nose at Joe Burrow as the quarterback, and I can't fathom it, because if I call up 4 NFL executives today and I say, take Patrick Mahomes out of the conversation, who's the quarterback you'd build your roster around? I'd bet dollars to donuts the 3 of them would say Joe Burrow. That's how highly he's thought of inside the NFL. Outside of the injury factor, that's what kind of player he is. And if I'm the Jets and if I have the chance to trade for Lamar Jackson, even if it takes 3 first-round picks, you owe it to yourself to go and try to make that happen. I don't think it's reasonable, but if the offer's on the table, you go and you make that offer if you're serious about winning and serious about contending.
Yes, this is the thing. And now Daniel isn't a Jets fan, so this is a unique example. But there was another comment like this in here where Lamar's on the downside. He hasn't won anything. And there's been other Jet fans that have said it in this comment section and other comments when Lamar's been brought up. Because there's been a few times in his history where he's potentially been available. And as a Jets guy, I'm like, oh, Lamar Jackson? Hell yeah. And some Jet fans like, I'm not so sure. Durability. I'm like, who are we? Jet fans, here's a mirror. Who are we to say, I'm not so sure this Lamar guy, this MVP quarterback you're not so sure about? You'd rather Chex Notes, Brady Cook, and Tim Boyle the last couple of years? It's nuts. But I want to go to that quarterback you mentioned, Matt Lombardo, because he's in your 4 columns, Joe Burrow. Last season, there was a lot of red flags coming out of Cincinnati that Joe Burrow was upset, displeased with what was going on, and that they weren't, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, just sort of reading the tea leaves, that the Bengals weren't maximizing the window here for Joe Burrow and his awesomeness to potentially win a Super Bowl. You had it there in your 4 down columns, Matt Lombardo, about how much urgency Joe Burrow is intimating with his energy and also just quite frankly saying with his words. What is it here on this Joe Burrow all-in year? And could this potential, we're talking about Lamar Jackson potentially become available. What about Joe Burrow if the Bengals screw it up again? He's like, enough is enough. I want out of here. Could that be in the future? Tell us more about this Joe Burrow 4 downs column you had on betweenthehashmarks.com.
Yeah, last week during his open media session at the podium, it really seemed like Joe Burrow was having like a therapy session in front of the media where, they asked him point blank, do you feel like it's now or never? And he said, yeah. And I dug deeper on this. And between trading the top 10 pick to go get Dexter Lawrence, between restructuring a couple of the contracts on the defensive side of the football, the Bengals stepped out of character this offseason to go out and add what they believe to be elite defensive players around Joe Burrow, rather than just taking care of their own guys from within or letting them walk based on what they do in the first part of their careers. They really went out and they tried to build out that complementary defense. And it just feels like, for the first time, maybe since the Super Bowl year, that the Bengals have done everything necessary to set Joe Burrow up to make a Super Bowl run and go win a ring. But to your point, I don't know that I've ever seen Burrow as frustrated at it not having happened. And if it goes awry this year, and if it goes sideways this year, this might be the first time where you look at it and say, he's not getting any younger. And maybe there comes a point at the end of this year where he goes and says, I'm waiving my no trade clause. I want to go win a ring. And it's not happening here. When you start saying things like, yes, that's how I'm looking at it, when you're asked if it's a now or never year, to me, that's a quarterback who's frustrated with the front office, the situation, the coaching staff that he's been dealing with in his career.
Fair enough. I'm just going to go on the record and say, I'm going to say it, okay? Because this is the way I feel. And you like me or not like me for it. I'm not a big fan of Lamar Jackson. Period.
What?
Okay? I don't want him as the quarterback of my team because he's a unicornish guy. You have to build a specific thing around him. I don't like him as a quarterback. I would rather have a guy like a Joe Burrow. I'd rather have somebody like a Matthew Stafford that's more of a drop back guy. It also plays well into your backup situation as well. So just my personal opinion, not a big fan of Lamar. I respect his talent. He deserves those MVPs that he won. But winning MVPs is different than winning titles. Winning MVPs is different than building a winning franchise. I'm just not a big fan, period. End of story. Sorry. No, you don't like it. Too bad.
Well, it's not. I think there is layers to your conversation. I don't think it's binary. Maybe it is for you, but love or hate him. Because for Lamar, I'm trying to think of the right way to continue this part of the conversation. You can say, if there was two quarterbacks, would you prefer Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson? That's one part of the conversation. But
that's chocolate or vanilla ice cream, because you're talking about two of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL. They do things very differently. Joe Burrow might be the best quarterback in the NFL operating from the confines of a system. Lamar Jackson opens up everything. I mean, you can talk about the downfield accuracy. They haven't exactly built a stellar wide receiving core around him. I'd argue there's a chance the wide receiving core that he would walk into with the Jets would be an upgrade over what he's had in his career with the Baltimore Ravens. But his ability, his escapability, his ability to create on the run, he's improved downfield in the last couple of years. You throw open the playbook with Lamar. Now, who has the higher ceiling? I think that's still yet to be written. Lamar hasn't been to a Super Bowl. He's been to a conference title game. Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl, hasn't won one. But I think that there are probably 28 or so franchises in the league that if you said you can keep your current quarterback or you can have either Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson, they'll say to you, hey, give me either one of those guys.
Fair enough.
So, Lurch, where would you put
that up 100 times? Go ahead.
I'm sure you would. Lamar Jackson, and this is an impossible thing to do live, so you have to do it sort of off the top of your head. We can't go through the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you put him in the 32 starting quarterbacks in the league if you had to spitball it? Where do you put him among the best?
I can't do that now.
Spitball. Is he top 5? Is he top 10?
Top 10.
Okay, so you still have him top 10.
Could be top 5, but top 10 for sure. Yes.
Okay, no, that's all I was saying. I just wanted to make sure that you're top 15
I don't think
or
he's
something.
a bum. I just don't want him for my team. If I were putting a team together and I were GM, he wouldn't be my choice out of the landscape of guys. If I'm trading for someone like the Jets and giving up, as Matt's talking about, a windfall of draft picks, 3 number ones or something, no thanks. I'll just take my chances and get my guy, or I'll get a different guy that maybe I think might be worth that if I'm going to do it. But I just don't think the quick fix is what the Jets should do. That's just my honest opinion about this whole lock. This is just a theory or whatever. This is a speculative thing that Lock and Four put it out there, folks. We're not breaking news here today. This is something that he said he believes the Jets may be looking into Mike Tomlin and potentially trading for Lamar Jackson. So we're just entertaining the thought, dare I say. Is it realistic? Probably not incredibly realistic. Is it going to happen? I doubt it, but stranger things have happened. Like, how about my team, the New York Football Giants, trading away 2 offensive linemen in the last 2 weeks, Matt, and getting draft picks back. I love it when we give away our scraps and get more draft picks. This is feeling very good. My buddy here loves to talk about his GM, Darren Muji, all the time. So how about a little love for Joe Shane, who's out there, dare I say, working pretty hard to bring us back some draft picks. Matt, reaction, please.
Yeah, last week in the mailbag that runs every Friday at betweenthehashmarks.com, somebody asked me what are the positions that GMs are going to be looking for come cut downs or ahead of the cuts. And I had a scouting director tell me that if he were a GM, he'd be shopping for offensive tackle help, interior offensive line help, a linebacker, and maybe a special teams ace. And I think what you're seeing is that those are the positions at slots 45 through 53 on the depth chart that these general managers are hoping to upgrade on their own rosters. And instead of waiting for the waiver wire and figuring out if the guy that they want to covet is going to be on waivers and if they can get a waiver claim in, they're just jumping the line and trading a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick, or a 7th round pick. So I'm not surprised. And I think you'll see more of it going into Sunday and final roster cuts.
All right, Matt, before we let you go, between the hash marks, baby, plug it on up. You had some offensive linemen, trades with Giants and all that. Now, what else is coming up between the hash marks?
Yeah, come check us out each Monday, 4 Downs. It's the biggest 4 storylines of the weekend that was in the NFL, with insight from coaches, executives, scouts, current players around the NFL, former players as well. Friday, we're going to have the mailbag. Send me your questions. I'll pose them to my Rolodex of sources, get the answers to you. And then every Tuesday or Wednesday, the last couple weeks, it's Between the Hashmarks podcast with Mike Tanier and I. So come check us out. It's independent NFL journalism. Level up your coverage before the season starts, and we'd love to have you check us out.
There is a link in the YouTube description down below. Check it out. Also, in the 4 Down columns, a little shout out to Geno Smith you guys may want to check out. So show some love. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Right. Enjoy the glass, my friend. Salud, as they say. Salud. Enjoying his laser engraved 12th MC pint glass. Another one of those will go out this month in our monthly raffle as well, BG. So those things are still floating around here for people to get a hold of them. Very, very cool item. Just to conclude what I was saying.
Yeah, sure.
And here, there's some nice comments in here that'll lead well.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Badshaw jumped in here with, I want Baker, Burrow, or Jackson, talking about 3 quarterbacks that would be lovely on the Jets.
Could be available.
roster.
Sure.
And I would say the following about what Badshaw's saying. Number one, you just heard what I said about Lamar. So I want Lamar. So I wouldn't want him for the Jets either. No, not at this point, not for what Matt is talking about, if indeed that's the deal. And I would think it would be because of the accolades that this guy carries with him, at this particular point, the multiple MVPs, there's just things that it's going to cost you. Okay. Now I would pay that price for Burrow, ironically. Okay. Some might say they're on the same level or similar levels, but I would pay that price for Burrow. Okay. So there's a difference.
Even though he hasn't been an MVP before.
Correct. So what? I don't care. I like the way Joe Burrow plays football. I think he's a better fit for the Jets. I just like that proposition better. And to go to Baker Mayfield here for a moment that Badshaw mentions, while Mayfield is not as accomplished a quarterback as either of the other two guys, period, end of story. Right. No argument to be had here, at least not with me. I love Baker Mayfield for either New York team, the Jets or the Giants. I talked about it for years on the radio show when Baker was first being drafted and when he came into the league and then when it went wrong in Cleveland. Get Baker to New York. Baker would thrive in New York for the Jets or the Giants. And the reason he would is it's just that whole thing. Like the fans would gravitate to him. He has that swagger plus the good backstory of nobody ever believes in me. I'm the underdog. I'm going to show you wrong. This is going to be a fascinating year for Baker in Tampa Bay. Yeah. I don't know how great that team is, but I know that guy's going to ball out because he's playing for a contract. It looks like he's going to leave that place because they didn't have, they couldn't get it together, and he's done a lot for them in the last few years. He's put them on the map, so to speak.
Here's the post-Tom Brady era.
He's put them on the map, man. And it's very disrespectful that they haven't, that they didn't get that done with Baker. And I hope he does leave. And I think he'd be fascinating. But I don't know. If the Jets went for someone like Baker, let's put him on the table for a minute, because that could be real. That's more realistic next year, that Baker could be out there as a free agent.
Sure.
So that I would do, because now it's just money. Now that's all it is cap room.
Right.
That's all you're doing there. You're not giving away, and you've got still all those draft picks. Why wouldn't you do that? And if that wasn't the situation, and Baker had, say, another year or two on his contract, I would still do it, but it wouldn't be at the same price that it would be for a Burrow or potentially for a Lamar. I mean, it'd be a more reasonable price, which again is a reason to make a trade like that, if indeed it was a trade. But you wouldn't even need to trade for Baker theoretically if he doesn't sign anything and he just walks into free agency as a complete and utter free agent.
Yeah, to me, that is everything you said is true. I can't deny any of it. Baker has a path to free agency. We'll see if the Bucks can make the magic money cap change so they could potentially fit a franchise tag in there. That seems hard to believe, but anything can happen with the cap. I would invert, or I would just rearrange Badshaw's sort of pecking order here. Burrow would be number one. I have Burrow over Lamar, then Baker. And I get it that with Burrow or Lamar, you have to pay a price in terms of trade to make it happen. In Baker, in theory, right now on August 26th, you wouldn't have to. But I'm willing to pay the iron price for the better product. Sure. Do I have to trade crazy stuff for Burrow or Jackson? Yes, but I'm getting a better quarterback than I am in Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is an occasionally top 10 quarterback. He's not consistently a top 10 quarterback. Burrow and Jackson could be top 5. And depending on the season or whatever the extra hoopla is going on. So, but it is compelling to your point. If you could acquire Baker for nothing but money, and then you have 3 first-round picks to build around him and add all kinds of nice pieces, or one of those ends up being a future quarterback, you kind of put, some investments in multiple pots there. There's something to be said. But, this is exciting. These are massive upgrades, obviously, over what the Jets have had for a long time.
Order-wise, I'd go Burrow, Baker, Jackson in that order. And the reason I put
come
Baker
on,
in front of
Lurch.
Jackson, again, would be the cost. Nothing versus a lot. And I don't want Jackson as my quarterback. That's it. Just that simple.
Wow,
Sorry.
That's
the way it goes.
Okay.
Burrow, Baker.
So you're not taking him in fantasy is what you're saying. If Lamar Jackson's available at some
Fantasy
point
football and reality football are two different things. Okay. Very
do this for me. Do this for me, Lurch. While Bachelor's comments still up there. Arrange the 3 quarterbacks in terms of fantasy value to your board. 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks here.
Jackson, Burrow, Baker.
Okay. Wow. Complete flip. Whoop. Now, Batcha didn't do this for fantasy, so I'm not making fun of you, Batcha, but
It's
interesting.
fantasy football.
Okay.
It's not leading my team and
not reality football.
Building a team around a guy and, making it work. Yeah.
Okay.
And including price and cost and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
that's
not a better
ADP.
quarterback than Lamar. I'm not here to argue that today.
Right.
What I am here to say is for the cost, I think Baker would be the better situation.
Fair. Touche.
Burrow, I would pay what do they call the iron price, right? That's
the iron price. Hell yeah, I'm paying the iron price. For Joe friggin' Burrow? Oh, yeah.
I would not pay the iron price for Lamar. Sorry. He's a 2-time MVP, but I wouldn't. And I don't have to pay any price theoretically.
Probably not.
Baker.
Right.
Damn, that's a fantastic deal if I don't have to pay anything. But I still think amongst all of that, the Jets should just draft their quarterback. That's what I think they should do.
I hope so. That's my preferred path. I mean, you get your own guy. There's something about growing your own vegetables, in your backyard. You nurture, you tend to the flock, and then it just sort of over time, as opposed to taking someone else's stuff. Joe Burrow would be cool, but I'd love nothing more than we plant the seed. We watch it grow. We watch it, all of it, the entire process. That's what I want. Yes.
Yeah, and was I just had something on my mind that I was thinking. I mean, I think in the end, the bottom line is that the Jets should do this the right way. I'll go back to my Nick analogy that I went to earlier. The Knicks were trying this crazy quick fix thing for years. Just to be a contender. Let's go get Carmelo Anthony and trade our whole team away. Let's go get, all these veteran guys. Bring in Stoudemire, who's kind of banged up and washed up a bit, and we'll bring him in, and maybe he'll change the franchise's fortune. And there just weren't any really the right guys at all. They were all good players at some point in their careers, but they were all the wrong guys at the wrong time. Now, the Knicks they didn't end up really building their team through the draft. They ended up taking some of their draft picks like R.J. Barrett, all right, Emmanuel Quickly, Porzingis, all right. They actually drafted all those guys and then got other guys or got other things for those guys in the beginnings of this evolution to build the roster.
Because wasn't everyone acquired? Because
pretty much.
Jalen Brunson.
That's where I'm going with this. Here's the thing. Yeah. What did they do inevitably? They still did build it, through free agency / trades.
Right.
But this time around, they didn't rush the build, and they built it with the right guys. One might not say when the Knicks first made that trade, one of the early trades that they made to bring in the first piece of this championship team was Josh Hart, who is a very nice player,
Yeah.
really kind of an annoying, pesky defender that the Knicks would
Very
play
much so.
against regularly, right? It was Hart on Miami. I don't remember where they got him from. I can't remember off the top of my head for some reason. But Hart was just a pesky guy, and the Knicks would face him, and you'd be like, damn, that guy, that guy's kind of, I like that guy. He's got some qualities, and he plays a 3-and-D kind of guy, like he could give you some trouble there, like, so they go out and they get
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers. Yeah, he was playing with the Trailblazers. So, all right, so Josh Hart, they get him, and it's like, okay, big deal. And why they got Josh Hart? Okay, and they all of a sudden he's in the starting lineup, and that guy's pretty decent, and then it just builds from there.
Mikal Bridges,
obviously the addition of Brunson, which everybody in the world thought was a terrible contract. Why? Are the Mavericks not wanting to kill themselves over that thing now? The guy's turned into one of the top 10 players, in my opinion, in all of basketball. And the Knicks got him on a song, and now they got him on a hometown discount. And, you couldn't have asked for a better situation. His dad's an assistant coach on the team. Life is good. The guy has roots in New York. Actually, his roots right here in good old Syracuse and Central New York, for crying out loud. So, they got Brunson. And then the smart
Mitch Robinson. He was like one of the the only drafted guys.
Right, the only homegrown guy, the guy that they drafted and kept, okay? And there were many times where Knicks fans were like, get rid of that guy. You can't
100%.
This, you can't do that. Yeah, but there's a couple things he does better than anyone in the league. Maybe we ought to hold on to this unicorn for a while. And the Knicks held on to him until they couldn't afford him anymore. Robinson I don't disagree. It hurts that Mitch Robinson's not going to be on the team this year because he's very unique and I loved him.
Where did he land, Lurch?
At the price, okay, it's just not worth it. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't know. I'm not in basketball mode right this second, but
Boston Celtics.
Boston. Yeah, that's right. He signed with Boston, of course. How do we forget that? He signed with the Celtics. But again, at that price.
I hear what you're saying for construction. I understand what you're saying.
And they got Anunoby. Okay, that was critical.
Anunoby, obviously, right.
Guy, to be a 3-and-D guy. All of a sudden, he became available. They traded away, remember, Barrett and they traded away quickly in Barrett. Two of their big pieces in order to bring in a
big
guy
Toronto
like
deal, yes.
People weren't so sure about that one. And then ultimately, the final piece was Towns. They needed to get a center, and they decided, all right, we've been talking about Karl Anthony Towns forever. Let's just go get the guy. And they went and made that deal, and that was the final piece, and it wins them a championship. So
Julius Randle was another piece you guys traded.
Traded him away, again, in part of that whole thing. So when you really look at it, sure, the Knicks did, quote, buy themselves a championship in many respects, but they did it smartly and slowly and methodically, and they looked for puzzle pieces that fit. And I think that's what the good teams do. And I think that's what the Jets need to do. I think that's what my Giants need to do. Like, they've been down for a while, man. Like, to get back up, you got to start thinking about those pieces you're putting on the game board and how they fit, because you just give yourself a much better chance if you don't rush it. Okay, and just look for the quick fix. There are a lot of great players out there that are probably going to be available in the next 2 years. That doesn't mean that guy on your team is still the same player that they were, say, in a system that really worked for them or playing with other people. It doesn't mean that. So that's all I'm saying. So just take your time with it and don't be in such a rush. Look at what you've built. Look at what the Jets have built, Paul. They've got a great future right now in terms of draft picks. Like, take that to the bank.
That's the dangerous thing, Lurch, is because if things are going south at any point this year, right, there's a big red shiny button in the middle of the room for Darren Muji. 3 first-round picks in 2027. If you break that glass, I'm sure you could acquire all kinds of fun players. But again, the adrenaline candy rush of eating some right now versus the veggies that are better for you for the long term. That'll be the conversation here. We'll see how patient the Jets are. They should remain so.
Batshot threw this one in too. I like this comment as well. I don't know if our coaching staff can handle a rookie QB. All right. Well, then the answer is then this ain't the right coaching staff. I think
that's probably true.
Mike Tomlin will be fine developing your rookie quarterback if that's the route you're going to go. But you don't have to go get Tomlin and Lamar, but just go get Tomlin and then, your rookie quarterback if you believe that Glenn can't get the job done. I'm with Paul. Paul and I don't know if we were in the minority or not. We felt like that at times, but both of us believed one more year for Glenn.
Oh, yes, we're very much in the minority.
Yeah,
yes.
we were like,
unfortunately.
Okay. And I'm not usually, Johnny optimistic like this guy is when it comes to Jets, but I was just like, come on. I mean, one season like that with everything that went down, like, you got to give this guy another year. He's a homegrown Jet. The owner handpicked him. Can you at least give him a second season to see if he can do better than he did? He made a lot of dumb, dare I say, rookie head coach mistakes.
For sure, definitely.
I don't need to earn him for it, so. But, if he doesn't do it this year, I'll be right at the front of the line to say it's okay.
100%.
Especially with some of the guys like a Tomlin that's out there, you just – when there are great guys out there like that, once it became clear that Harbaugh, like, let's go, baby. Harbaugh, let's go. Let's make our move right now. Let's not wait another second. So
Well, speaking of that, Lurch, it's a beautiful way to sort of progress the conversation here. It's Jets Giants week, okay? And
Snoopy Bowl.
Giants are in the NFC East, Jets are in the AFC East. Really, they play once every 4 years. Sure, they do this Snoopy Bowl that John
Mhm.
Schmelk never wants it to be called Snoopy Bowl ever again. There's all these things going on. But Woody Johnson is, of course, going to be watching the Giants in town. He's going to be reading the papers. They went for the big fish in John Harbaugh. If the Giants have immediate success, Harbaugh delivers what Rex Ryan did to the Jets, where he injects the right thing at the right time, and the Jets are rocket fuel, and they take over the town, and all of that. If all that stuff happens, how could Woody Johnson not be affected by seeing that? And then whatever happens with this season, especially if it's mediocre or worse, how does he not see that big red shiny button in the middle of the room to do whatever it takes to go get a Tomlin? The price, if a trade was to happen, we talked about that earlier, it doesn't look like a trade price would have to happen with Tomlin based on the current, reporting. But how would he not be influenced? So I think that's the indirect Harbaugh Jets Giants thing, is if Harbaugh has immediate success with the Giants, immediate success, Woody Johnson, the Jets are going to be just thinking about, how do we counter that? What's our move? Because he is a counter guy. When someone makes a splash, he makes a bigger splash. He loves big names and that sort of thing.
I think, just being a Met fan all the years when the Yankees would make big splash moves, it was always embarrassing to the Mets. And every once in a while, the Mets would, counter and make a big move. Heck, they stole Juan Soto from the Yankees just a couple of years ago,
That's true.
Teams are going to take a swing now and then, or they're going to say, we're not going to let the person that we oftentimes share headlines with or the back page with suddenly just dominate the back page. We got to do something here. We got to get ourselves back into existence. So, I definitely how Harbaugh's immediate success affects the Giants could definitely affect Woody Johnson's patience with Aaron Glenn. I think maybe that's the fair way to say it. His patience will be much thinner with Glenn, theoretically, if Harbaugh has a really good first season as a Giants head coach.
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah, and Ricky New York Live. Yeah, I see this comment in here. He says, Boy Green, Frank Reich as the OC went to the Super Bowl with the Nick Foles. That was in 2017. Pretty sure he can handle rookie quarterback. Stop the nonsense, people. I'm going to be, we'll see what the season is. I believe in Bill Musgrave, former drafted Dallas Cowboys quarterback. He's been coaching football for 30 years. Frank Reich's won a Super Bowl. He's this longtime quarterback. Quarterbacks are normally super intelligent, knowing playbooks, and he's been a coach forever. So I have more faith in this Jets offensive staff than I've had in any Jets offensive staff in a long time to potentially develop a rookie quarterback. But let's see. How does Cade look? How does Geno look, even as a veteran? How does their system around a veteran and Geno look? So I'm confident in it, Ricky. I don't think a lot of our other fans of the audience are. So you're going to either have to jump on the positive bandwagon with me or you, or we're going to have to see what happens.
I'll tell you what, again, as kind of a neutral person, since I'm not a diehard Jet fan, obviously, I love the hire of Frank Reich. And I know a lot of people thought it was a boring hire. Okay, it's a retread guy.
Old man hire, past his prime
for
hire.
This staff, this time, considering what went on last year, they need stability. They need a guy who's been through some things. They need a guy that's been a head coach before. I mean, the guy was a head coach, all right? It's one of the reasons why, I'm very supportive of some of the guys that Harbaugh signed this offseason for his coaching staff. People may hate Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy has a ton of experience, all right? And so does Callahan, another guy that's been a head coach. You can't tell me that sitting in that head chair doesn't teach you a lot, about how to run a football team and how a football team operates and how, and even parsec out your own role. If you're not a head coach anymore, knowing what that head coach goes through makes it easier for you to operate within the parameters of being an OC, a DC, or an assistant coach. So I like hires like that. And I think Frank Reich is just a very level-headed, stable guy. So you're right, Ricky. I would trust a guy like Reich with a young quarterback. I think he's the kind of guy that would take his time and do it the right way. But I think the fate of this all really comes down to whether AG can win games. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. If the Jets cannot turn it around somewhat this season and win more football games and show a lot more than they showed last year, he's not going to make it to the end of this contract. Just no way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's two-pronged. Certainly got to win games. I can't dance around that. That has to happen. That's a bare bones
All
thing that
about
has to happen. But I also think development. How do the young players look under AG? Is he fostering development? Is Mason Taylor make a leap? What about some of the rookies come in? Is there immediate rocket fuel on these guys like Kenyon Sadiq, who's been hurt a lot, unfortunately, but David Bailey's look like a superstar. Does that continue to bear fruit? So how players Azaria Thomas's and Mason Taylor's and Kiko Mauingoa's and these first, second-year players that are making that transition, how do they look under AG? So I think it is, of course, winning, obviously. But beyond that, I think it is player development. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack, and I can't believe it, Lurch. We had the preseason finale here. What's today? Wednesday? We got this in 2 days, Jets, Giants, and then the next game played after our preseason, some have over the weekend, is the Wednesday night of football. And we got our fantasy draft starting this week, Lurch. So, man, I'm really fired up.
Yeah, as you know, excuse me, right after our live broadcast today, I'm got a little frog in my throat. I'm headed over to Sharky's, all right, one of our sponsors here on the show. And I'm going to meet with the lovely owner, Jim, great guy. And maybe going to have some bourbon, apparently, as he sent me in a text. So, Boy Green, if I'm staggering my way home, I have to call you for a ride later. Just know,
yeah, sure.
What the reason was.
I'll be in the area.
All in the realm of business, right? All for the business.
Of course.
But actually, the big reason why I'm going over to meet Jim is because our fantasy draft is a week from Friday live at Sharky's, our Champs League, which is our top league from our radio days. It's a very, very prestigious league. Surprisingly, there's no money involved in this league, and yet the people that play in it fight their way into the league, and it is a very, very prideful to win this league.
Very much
and
so.
so people want it.
This is the league I care the most about, Lurch, and I'm sure it is for you too. This is the league out of any league I'm in, I care the most about. I'm all in on this.
Yeah, I hope we can build the digital league into what that Champs League
same feeling, of course. Me too. Yeah,
the people that are in that Champs League, they just come to play. They're active on the waiver wire every week. You're fighting to get those players over people that might have positional, be above you in the pecking order if they're a little lower in the standings. There's tons of trades. There's a lot of trade talk that goes on week to week, almost from the start of the season right through. We have a couple of complete wheeler dealers in the league. We have some other people that are kind of tight asses, dare I say, when it comes to trades, and they're a little harder. You got your rivals in the league, right? Boy Green and I, it's like notorious that we almost never make trades with each other. We did a kicker trade a few years ago, and the league was like up in arms that we actually made a trade. We try. We just don't agree. It's part of the beauty, I suppose, of this show and our fantasy league. But the fact of the matter is that people are really, really into it. So I'm going over to Sharky's, one of our lovely sponsors, and I'm gonna find out exactly the space that we're going to be in, because this is our first year having it over there, and just get the logistics, as they say, for our setup, what it's going to look like, and how I'm going to put the room together for that night. But we really do it up. It's not like just show up and there's a bunch of tables. We've got football memorabilia, and we've got lights. And, we got the big board.
You make the placards.
Big board. We've got the placards for the trophies from all of our leagues.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a hoot. It's always a great night. There's nothing like a live draft. If any of you folks can get into a live draft with buddies of yours, and I would highly, highly recommend a 12-team league, because it's just 12 is just the right amount where you expend most of the worthwhile players in the NFL onto your rosters. There's a little bit of fat on the waiver wire from time to time when someone unexpected pops or a couple of guys get injured or something, and suddenly guys come into play that you wouldn't have otherwise drafted. All right. So there's just enough meat there to play waivers, but not to be like overwhelmingly crazy. And yet you fill out your roster with what should be some pretty good players, and you let the chips fall where they may. I think it's the perfect number. We do it in all of our leagues. All of our leagues are 12-team leagues. And there's a very, very strong, compelling reason for that. 12 is the best. If you can only get in a 10, it's fine. In 8, I'm in an 8 with family. It's like, good grief. I mean, you could just go out and get Baker Mayfield off the waiver wire.
Yeah, it just sucks. I hate that.
Injuries don't even matter. There's no hurt when there's an injury, because you just go pick up another player who's not all that much worse than the guy you had in there. So I don't like the leagues where it's just all star power and nothing else. It actually takes a little bit of skill to manage a roster and draft a roster in a 12-team league. So really looking forward to that. And like I said, we're putting the pieces together. It's a week from Friday. Our digital league draft is actually going to be the following Sunday. So a week from Sunday is going to be our digital league draft. We're still putting all the pieces together for that. So a lot of fun.
I just want to say this.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah, for those who don't know, like a live fantasy draft, because you may just say, Paul, all leagues are live. What do you mean? They're all live. We're all live in their drafting. No, 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 no. What Lurch is saying is we go to an establishment. In this particular case, we're going to Sharky's in Liverpool. I've ordered in advance. The box is, it's right there. I'm just trying to look at my moving house where everything is in boxes, so it's hard to tell. The box for a draft is right there. And it is a big board that gets thrown up on the wall, or in this case, it stands up on its own. And there's a physical board that someone in it, we've, Lurch has rallied the troops. We have some helpers this year, as we've had in years past. They slap the stickers on the board, and you have beer, you have food, you have snacks, you got your paperwork and magazines in front of you, and there's just live reactions. Manchild takes them, we're like, boo, terrible, or he takes somebody, you sniped me, or great pick, high fives, some celebration, jealousy perhaps from the rest of the league mates. It's just spectacular. So if you've never done it, my only regret is when we did it, I'm like, why did we not do this sooner? I mean, there's a lot of hard work that gets involved. As Lurch mentioned, we don't just show up to a random restaurant, just sit at a table. Like, there's a lot of hoopla that goes into it, and months of preparation and making sure it's awesome for all the people involved. I print out a bunch of stuff for everybody, but man, it's so cool. The only one I do is the Champs League. I don't do any other live drafts. So that's the only one I do in terms of being at a live atmosphere. So Lurch, I can't wait. It's awesome. And it can't get here soon enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Real blast. So fantasy football, if you're not already doing it, you should do it. If you can do a live draft, even better. And I highly recommend you do 12-team leagues. All right, those are the 3 tips we'll throw out there today. All right, we are presented today by Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at the Floral Gardens from the Allen Floral Group, where you can get flowers for every occasion. It's not just Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. Those are staples for sure. But, everyday flowers make for a nice gift as well. So go see our friends at Allen Floral Group. Find out more if there's an Allen Floral Group near you by going to allenfloralgroup.com. With that in mind, we'll step away from our sponsors. Then we'll be back. More Jets and Giants talk, including Joe Shane. Come on, man. The guy's a wheeler dealer, Boy Green. Let's give the guy some credit. Everybody thought he was going to be a do-nothing. He's out there beating the bushes, and he's bringing back draft picks. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the big injury that happened in Giants camp as well just yesterday. Bad news for all us Giant fans, but good news for one Giants player, perhaps. Okay, we shall discuss. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget to like the video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're not already a subscriber. We'll be right back.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
All right, we are back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Talking sports with you here on a Wednesday. We are the all New York football sports podcast, bringing you Jets, Giants, and Bills news each and every day. And some real news going on with my Giants, Boy Green. Let's start with the big injury. Calvin Austin III running a route in practice a couple of days ago. The knee went out. And now we have found out that it is season ending. It is a right ACL tear. So he is done for the season. Ed Valentine and I were having a very robust, very heated conversation in our Giants Insider interview just a couple of days ago about the 53 for the Giants, and in particular, that receiver room, and whether or not John Harbaugh would have to take on 7 receivers in order for a guy like Odell Beckham to make this roster. And Ed flat out said, under the current conditions, before Calvin Austin went down, I don't believe there's any path for Odell to make this roster right now. All right. I don't think they're going to carry 7. Even if they do, Dalen Cambry might make the roster instead of Odell. I just don't give him a good chance. I just think the fact that he doesn't play special teams, he's kind of odd man out. and everyone else looks pretty secure. He felt very secure about Braxton Berrios, who some of us at least wonder, is he on the roster or not? Obviously, Austin, he had penciled in. We know the rookie's in. We know the other two starters, are in. So there's really not much wiggle room here for additional players. And so Ed did not believe it, but I wonder if we could get Ed back in the time machine right now and say, now that Austin's out, did that just increase Odell 5%, 10%, 50%? Because if they do keep 6, unless Cambry beats him out for the job, I think Odell is now going to make this roster. So fate sometimes falls into your favor, dare I say, and Giant fans may indeed get what they want. Odell Beckham Jr., part of the 53-man opening day roster.
Yeah, just real quick on Calvin Austin, I feel terrible for the young man. Apparently, it's worse than a torn ACL, multiple ligaments, and apparently very gruesome on the field. I don't want to get too vivid here, but it's
off.
Yeah, he got carted off, and apparently very, very bad is how it was described to me earlier. So, he's got a very long road to recovery. And those kind of injuries are tough to come back from in football in general. So I hope this is not the end of the career for one. Calvin Austin III. So apparently it was a very gruesome injury, and I feel terrible for the young man. And this is just the nature of the beast, to your point, right? One door closes, another door opens. One is this, one is that. OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., I'm sure is destroyed for his teammate to see something like that on the football field, but it obviously benefits him to potentially make this roster. And I was hearing from a Giants person earlier today, they thought not only was Calvin Austin III going to make this roster, they thought he was going to be a legitimate contributor, potentially the starting slot receiver. Yep. And you even said that before, Lurch, when we were talking all our Giant stuff with you and what Matt Lombardo said on a previous episode about Braxton Berrios, job security versus some of the things you had heard too. So that's terrible for Calvin Austin, but I think selfishly if I'm OBJ, I think this is huge news for him to potentially make this roster. That's now, right. Who knows? Maybe he would have been able to make this roster without considering Calvin Austin's injury, but I think if we're doing some percentage, I think it's jumped up like, I don't want to be dramatic here, but 60% or something of what it was to the other side. I think this is huge news for him making this team. So good for OBJ, the nostalgia, the production. But again, to me, I think it has to be more than just nostalgia because he doesn't play special teams. So being that 5th or 6th receiver, he has to have a role.
Yeah, and look, fans are really in his corner. He's been getting cheered at every preseason game. He's getting cheered at public practices when the public is in attendance. He is among the most popular Giants on this roster right now. It is remarkable that he's a fringe guy to make the team, and yet he is getting major, major cheers. It's just a very, very cool thing. Giant fans have definitely gotten behind the idea of Odell being part of the 53.
Have you, Lurch?
Yeah, I think I've embraced it more and more. When it first happened, I was just kind of like, oh, man.
I know exactly what you're reacting.
Why do we got to do Odell 2.0? I mean, 1.0 ended in such a bad way. Like, why, But, you warm up to it. And come on, I can't deny when the guy was a Giant and he wasn't doing fruity things towards the end of his Giant tenure, all right? He was a phenomenal player. He was a phenomenon. He's the best receiver we've had in a long time on our roster.
Mexico, I guess.
Yeah, he's among the greatest receivers we've ever had in the Giants' history, even though he only played however many seasons it was. He would rank among the greats of Giant receivers. It's not like we have this Giant receiver tree over the years. I mean, I mean, he made an impact when he was a player here, and he made an immediate impact in his rookie season at LSU. So, I've warmed up. I've definitely softened my stance, and at this point, the way the roster looks right now, I'm absolutely in his corner to make this roster. So, I don't think if the Giants didn't carry 7 and Austin didn't get hurt, that he would have been deserving of a roster spot because, I don't know. He may be, push comes to shove if we had to just line him up and decide which guy is a better receiver than Braxton Berrios, okay, even at his advanced age. But Berrios does the other things, and that matters, okay? And Ed said it very, very clearly when I talked to him the other day. Berrios is right now on both punt and kick return, okay? They're using him in both phases, it looks like, and he may be the top guy for them. They lost, remember, Gunnar Olszewski, who was the guy for Giants on punts at least, and they need a guy. And Odell doesn't play special teams, period, end of story. He doesn't. So, he even made the case again for Dalen Cambry, all right, to beat out Odell for a roster spot if there was even a 7th spot available, because Cambry apparently is a special teams nut. He's another freak on the special teams
Yeah.
and loves playing the special teams. So could, again, he have even gotten bumped in that situation if they even carried 7? I think 6 is the most likely conclusion to come
Yes,
to
I agree.
in terms of how many the Giants are going to carry. And I think that even though it could be down to Odell and Cambry, I think that they could put Cambry, they could stash him on the practice squad.
Yes.
Somebody
right.
else goes down, that he joins the team. I think Cambry would accept that unless somebody picks him up. Obviously, there's always that chance that somebody else could pick him
Sure.
up and
Part of the
lose the
risk.
guy. So that would stink. But I do think that the Giants at this point are probably going to roster Odell Beckham Jr. So, yeah, I'm in his corner. And, yeah, I think it's
Crazy.
actually going to happen now that this unfortunate injury has happened. Another guy, I want to get to this one
Yes.
really quick. The Giants front
Sure.
two, Boy Green. Josh Azudu, okay, was just traded yesterday, okay?
Yes.
Now, that might not be a household name to a lot of people, but this is a guy that has been on the roster for a couple of years. It was funny, totally unprompted, nothing to do with this happening, because, again, I talked to Ed before Austin got hurt, before Azudu got traded, all right?
Yep.
Ed, literally, I was asking him about surprise guys in camp, like, who are the guys that have popped, Ed? Give me a guy or two that has popped.
Yeah.
And he started grabbing a few guys. I think the first or second guy he talked about, go back and watch the video, folks, is Josh Azudu. And he was saying, like, nobody knows this guy. He's not. Ed not only said he thinks he's going to make this roster. He said, I see him as a swing guy. They've been using him at various positions, and he's been excelling at the practices that I've been at. So, like, I had this warm fuzzy now that I didn't have before for Josh Azudu. And then all of a sudden, boom, a day later, Azudu is traded. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what just happened? I thought the Giants, this guy was going to make the 53. So I don't know if John Harbaugh and company didn't feel that way, or maybe it was just, again, I don't know. We only got a 7th rounder for him, but I mean, it was an offer.
See, this is what I wanted to ask you real quick, Lurch, on this. So, okay, Daniel Faalele, he's a polarizing guy. He started a ton of games, so he has experience, but Ravens fans celebrated when he left, and they laughed when they found out it was to the Giants. They said, oh my goodness, that's hilarious. And then when the Giants were able to trade him for anything, let alone a 6, Ravens fans were like, how did Harbaugh pull this off? This is unbelievable.
Right.
So, like, Faalele, he's a huge dude, starting experience. So Jacksonville gets him. And that one I understood because he's polarizing.
Yeah.
But Azudu, if he was doing all these wonderful things that Ed Valentine said, can you not have enough good offensive linemen? What's a 7th round pick if he's going to make the team and be a key reserve? So you're right. We haven't given the flowers yet, or you have, I haven't. Yes, Joe Shane obviously deserves credit because we've done the same thing for Muji. How did he get anything for Justin Fields? It's basically the same thing with Daniel Faalele of like, wow, how did he do that? So he deserves credit for that. But like the more I'm hearing about Azudu, the more I'm like, yeah, sure, he got something for a guy that maybe wouldn't have made the team. But if he was as promising as Ed Valentine suggested, maybe you should have kept him because you want as much offensive line depth as possible.
Yeah, this is fascinating. A team that has had nothing but offensive line problems for the past 10 plus years, maybe
Just
more like 15
guys.
these days, right? And they're giving away offensive linemen at the back end of their depth chart, for late round draft picks. I mean, again, you'll take what you can get. If the guy's not making the roster and you can get a pick,
that's true, right? We don't know that, right?
Trade him. I mean, I have to believe in my heart of hearts that the Giants did not see a place for Josh Azudu on this roster.
I hope so.
Let's take a 7th, and it's not even next year, by the way, it's the year after. So it's
2028,
2 years from now or a couple years from now, right? It's a 2028 draft, right? So, but whatever, draft picks are draft picks.
Sure.
The Giants understand the value of them, and you can always trade draft picks to move up in the draft, and these are the strategies that smart GMs and smart coaches.
But as long as he wasn't going to make the team, Lurch, I'm cool with it. If he was, I feel a little bit more.
I would have thought, just again, based on what I know of the two players and Valentine's, acute opinion. He's at, he was down in West Virginia for all those practices. Right. He's been to several practices at Giants Stadium, at MetLife since they've come back home. He was just around the team 2 days ago, fresh off it when I talked to him, on Tuesday, and he had a very strong opinion about Josh Azudu being a guy that was looking really good. So the fact that they only got a 7th 2 years from now for Azudu and they got a 6th for a guy that literally was just like, well, we'll see, and we'll give him a try. And now we got too many of these guys. We don't need them. And they get a 6th for him. That's a little hard to comprehend. But even harder to comprehend is how a team that has struggled so mightily with offensive linemen is literally giving them away.
Winfrey out there. You get a tackle. You get a lineman. You get a lineman.
You take an interior lineman.
All right.
And no, it's kind of weird and bizarre. And, what could I tell you?
Hey, shout out Joe Shane. Give some Joe Shane love, huh?
Yeah,
There you go.
but he does deserve some love for that. Like, come
Sure.
on, he's getting back something for nothing, essentially. You can never fault a GM for doing that, right? I know these aren't major
course not.
trades, but you can't fault a guy for that. So that to me is very, very impressive. So I'm back in Camp Shane these days. It seems like John Harbaugh's doing his job over here, and Joe Shane's doing his job over there. And what is Joe Shane doing? He's hitting the phones. He's talking to John Harbaugh about the back end of the roster. He's saying, all right, we're getting closer. Who do you think's going to, what do you think, coach? Is this guy going to make the roster? Hey, there's some teams out there I've been talking to. I've been having some conversations this week. They're really desperate for offensive linemen. They really don't have any depth. That really could use a guy. If we're not going to keep him, can I shop him? Yeah, sounds good. Go shop him. Boom. And then he comes back with 2 draft picks. That's not so bad. Okay. If that's the way it's going down, and that has to be my assumption that that's the way it's going down.
I hope so. Right.
Hope so, but I think so. I mean, what's the reason to think that that's not the case? You think Joe Shane's just, just freelancing here with John Harbaugh?
And John Harbaugh, he's like, "What's going on?" No,
offensive lineman. I just decided to ship him off. I mean, this is definitely in tandem. This is definitely planned, and picks are picks, man. I know these are not first, second, third rounders, even fourth rounders, but
they all add up.
Man, it's good.
I agree.
Good to have picks. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Joe Shane love. I give it to him. I wasn't the biggest Joe Shane fan in the world, and I thought the Giants keeping him was going to keep a guy like Harbaugh away, but obviously I was dead wrong. So, hey, praise it to be to Shane.
All right, I'm on some kind of glass kick, I guess, BG. We are back into our newest raffle. We are in the month of September raffle, even though we're wrapping
scrolling
up.
Ticker right there.
Yep. See the scrolling ticker below. Ready, the tote board getting updated with Zay Engineer and Jamie getting their 20 apiece for being Hall of Fame members and renewing their membership for another month. Thank you, guys. Number one Austrian has been gifting memberships the last couple of live shows, so thank you for that. Thank you for your generosity, Austrian. Again, you can super chat for $3, super sticker for $3. Every equivalent of $3 will get you a raffle ticket. If you're not a member and you become a member, 2 raffle tickets. If you gift a single membership, it's worth 2 raffle tickets. And if you gift 5 memberships, you'll get 20 raffle tickets. So we'll bounce you right to the top of the leaderboard. That's a great way to not only get us exposed to more people through membership, but also for you to pile up some raffle tickets. So I'm still putting the prizes together, BG, but I got a couple to unveil today, and then I'm going to add something else to the pile here by the time we do our next live show on a Monday, although I know we're doing Joe Bartle on Friday. Maybe I'll have it together by Friday. Some cool stuff. All right. These are cool. So years ago, the gas station Mobile used to do cool collectors items stuff, like like remember how there was a gas station, I think it was Hess gas stations, right? Used to get the Hess truck, right, when you were a kid.
Yes, right, the Jets, former Jets owner Leon Hess
selling the Hess trucks, right? Originally they were like giveaways, if you bought filled up your tank or something, they gave you a Hess truck, and then it became buy a Hess truck. I know, but those things were pretty cool. You know all about Hesses. They once owned the Jets, for crying out loud.
Leon Hess owned the Jets. That's correct.
So Mobil, who's a competitor, dare I say, ExxonMobil, started doing fun stuff with giveaways and stuff to lure people to come buy their gasoline and to come to their gas stations. And one of the things that they did is they did these NFL Cups in the cities of the teams that they were in. And of course, we have the Jets and Giants in New York. That's where I grew up. All right. And so I'm giving away some cool glasses. This is a Jets glass, all right, with the old Jets logo. Cool.
Which
cool
is now
logo.
the cool. Oh, that looks nice.
Got ExxonMobil, Mobil on the back there, and the NFL logo in perfect condition. All right.
I've also got one
for all you Giant fans. So I'll give you Jets and Giants in the same collection. All right. And we've got a lot of SU people in our membership and in our subscribership because we're based here in Central New York. So I'm going to throw in this very cool Syracuse University glass as well. This is a rocks glass. The others are kind of like, taller glasses.
Yeah, sure.
All this kind of glass here, but very, very cool. In perfect condition. Of course, another one of our 12th MC laser engraved pint glasses will also go out this month. And I'm going to add one more prize to this pot, and I'll try to get to that either by Friday or Monday. So that's what you're vying for this month. Some fun stuff, a little Jets, Giants, Syracuse memorabilia, plus the 12th MC, etched pint glass, and one other prize to be determined. Announced.
I'll tell you this, Lurch. After the show today, we'll talk. I think I have an idea for this other prize. Yep.
So, I don't like to be skimpy with our prizes, If we're going to do monthly raffles,
Yeah.
Like they make it worth people's while. You're supporting the channel. That's the most important thing, folks. And I know a lot of you do that without even asking for anything, but why not get something for your support?
Sure.
And so it's just a nice way for us to do these monthly raffles so that at least one person a month can win. Last month's winner, in case you missed it on our Monday live show, was Badshaw, all right, who got in on a few raffle tickets. He wasn't even by far the top raffle buyer. Zay Engineer had like 60 or 70 raffle tickets, and somehow Badshaw still, when the mystery wheel was spun, landed on him. So you just got to be in it to win it, baby. So any level that you can support really, really helps us keep the channel going and makes us a little bit better and a little bit stronger each day. So those are the ways to do it. You know how to do it. And Boy Green's going to come up with one more prize, or I'm going to come up with one more prize. I'm going to make this one nice, big, cool batch of prizes again. And again, we always draw on the 22nd of the month. Okay, so we'll do that on September 22. There we go. Bro.
Which, by the way, that is a Tuesday. Tuesday, for those counting at home. We'll be well into the NFL season at that point. We'll be heading into week 2.
Opening game, right? That Australia game is September. I just saw 9th. It on TV. 9th. Okay, so
we got a Wednesday game the 9th and a Thursday game the 10th.
On September 9th, folks. That's the official start. I know it's a Wednesday night game out in Australia. All right. Then we're going to get there's a game Thursday that week as well.
There is. Of course there is. Yeah.
And is there a Friday game as well?
I think there might be. And now let me double check because I can have it here.
It might be Wednesday, Thursday. I know it's Wednesday, Thursday. It could be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then obviously a full slate on Saturday and Sunday, and then as usual, the Monday Night Football game. I think that's the way week 1 falls, but I could be wrong about the Friday thing. I can't remember whether there's a Friday or not. But we do.
So I have it all in front of me. Here we go. There's no Friday this year. There's no Friday this year.
I was wrong about that. Okay. All right, sorry.
So no, that's okay. So we have Wednesday night. That is not the Australia one. That's the Super Bowl champion, which is the normal one. So the Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks, will host the New England Patriots. So
that's not the Australia game. Okay.
Right. Correct. It's not the Australia game. So the Wednesday night game is the Seahawks hosting the New England Patriots. They did that because the Australia game, they wanted to give the two teams enough time because they're flying to a remote location to get back. It wouldn't be fair to put that on a Sunday and then they're screwed up for the rest of their season. So we have Wednesday night football, Seahawks Patriots. That's NBC Wednesday night opener. Then Thursday night
is the Australian.
Well, Thursday night for us, it's whatever the hell
like
it's 10 a.m. in the morning or something for them.
Yes,
it's bizarre. That's Rams 49ers. We have the full Sunday slate, so that is normal 1 p.m. tonight, and then we have a Monday night game. So that is your full week 1 slate, baby. Wow.
So you're gonna get 4 days of football in opening week: Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, Monday.
Excellent.
Not a bad way to start the season. Not a bad way to start the season.
I think my fiance is going to be very confused when I'm like, are you ready for Wednesday night football? She's like, what? That's a thing? I'm like, yeah, we're on Wednesdays now. Woohoo!
And you guys get the Titans, so you got that Robert Saleh rub and already.
I'll be there in person. I'll be in Nashville.
You're going to be there in person at a great stadium in Nashville, great town. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of juice there. And of course, the Giants will get the Cowboys again, right?
Sunday night football.
We'll be home Sunday night football for the Cowboys. So, oh boy, I mean, come on, man. It's a pretty good opener. It's a pretty good. I didn't like that Cowboy draw initially, but I don't know. It's growing on me. Phil likes it. Giants
Phil says they're going to win. Hey, I'm not a Giants fan, but unfortunately, the only thing I could think about is the last time the Giants hosted the Dallas Cowboys in a primetime game to kick off week 1, they got blown out 40-0. So I want it to be a competitive game. So Giants, step up, pal. Okay.
Well, the last time we played the Cowboys was in Dallas, and we beat their butts last year. All right, so go back and look at that one. Okay, go back and look at that one. In a somewhat meaningless game at the end of the season.
I was about to say, wasn't that when they rested everybody?
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, that's true. You won. You won. That's
in Big D. That's all we care about. Anytime we beat the Cowboys, no matter who plays, what happens, it's a happy time for us Giant fans. So, so that's so it's a really good lid lifter of a week for the NFL. And definitely the Australia game adds a lot of spice to it because it's just different. I mean, to be that far away, I mean, from New York, I mean, if you're a West Coast team, I don't know, is it closer or not, but or is it further?
Oh, yeah, with the world.
Literally, I think from New York, it's literally like a 24-hour flight to get to. You're literally on a plane for an entire day, to go to Australia or New Zealand, which are obviously right next to each other. I don't know, from the West Coast.
Yeah, it's 22 to 26 hours from New York to Australia in the air. Now, let me check West Coast.
What about, try from L.A., from L.A.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's closer. You'd probably go the other way, go around the Pacific.
It's 14.5 to 15.5 hours
Okay, it
from
is less.
LA to there. So there you go.
Significantly less. Okay. And who'd say it's the Niners, right?
Yeah, and the Rams.
And the Rams. Okay. So a little, but I mean, it's still a long flight. I mean, it's still 16 hours.
15 hours. I mean, that's
it's still brutal.
And then both ways, so you need 30 hours. Oh.
And what'd you say for New York? 22 to 26? They're like a 4-hour variable. It probably depends on which way the wind's blowing,
Perhaps, I guess.
Yeah.
And time zone differences, I guess.
Time zone, right? Would be a factor.
So that's got to be confusing going there. Yeah.
The whole thing's confusing. My goodness. That's going to be a tough go for both of those teams. Getting there and then getting themselves ready to play football at whatever time of day it is over there, and then getting back and getting reacclimated to American time zones. That's going to be a tough road to haul for both of those teams. I'm sure once they get over there, the adrenaline will run, but I don't know, man. That's messed up.
Well, here it is. This is different strategies. The Rams are going to fly into Australia the day before the game, and then they're immediately leaving after. The 49ers are arriving a full week early to adjust. So we'll see who has the right advantage to see who's right.
I would do that week 100 times out of 100 times. I mean, you just got to get your team.
I would too. To get there an hour, like a day before with all the hoopla and the rest and everything. I don't know. There's smart people over there, I guess, but we'll see.
Phil has nightmares about Aubrey kicking a 60-yard field goal.
He's a freak. They're like in field goal range as soon as they step on the field at any point on the field. He's a freak. That's why he just got paid a lot of money this offseason.
It's funny, I'm a drafter of kickers in fantasy, and
Are you getting Aubrey again?
I think I'm going to wait on kicker this year. I think I'm not going to do.
No, you won't. Yeah, sure.
I will.
Then we're going to fast forward to the draft, and then you're going to take off.
I have another kicker flagged that I think could have a really good season, and I just like the draft this year. Like the more I've studied, the more I've kind of put my stuff together. Like I just don't want to waste a pick, in the 9th, 10th round on a kicker who's awesome. I mean, I love the guy.
Sure.
He's awesome. When I can, get another, sleeper running back, maybe sleeper receiver, maybe somebody that actually could really help me in other ways, in depth, in case I get injuries, you get a great starter when you take a guy like that, but you also are giving away a depth piece to someone else. And the question is, are you willing to do that? That's the trade-off. In prior years, I've been willing to do that. I'm not sure I'm going to do that this year.
Okay.
It's just kind of, I think, strategically the way I'm thinking about drafting this year and what my plan kind of be. Plan can always blow up, but what my plan kind of be, what my general strategy will be in drafts this year. So I'm going to get to put that to the test this coming weekend. So we got 2 drafts this weekend, right? We've got the Triple C.
I got to write them on here. I got to write them on my calendar over here. Make sure I don't miss anything. I got them on the app, but I want to write them physically.
Like beelining it back on Saturday. I have something on Saturday, and I got to make sure I try to get back. I might have to do part of the beginning of the draft on my phone or something on Saturday because I'm going to be somewhere, and I know it's like on the line whether I'm going to make it back in time or not. The draft starts at 6. I wish it started at 7 or 8. I'd be fine.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh boy, but I can't. I'm
You'll
committed.
Figure it out, Lurch.
I'll figure it out.
out.
All right. Final thoughts, if you have any. BG, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited for the fantasy football. Our next live show, speaking of fantasy football, will be Joe Bartle at 3:15 on Friday. My suggestion to everybody who's watching the show right now, take advantage, whether you're in one of our leagues or not. This is for anybody that's a fantasy football fan. You have draft questions. If you're already drafted, start sit questions as you're getting ready, lineup questions. All of those are available. Take advantage of that resource. Again, live every Friday here on the MC Show digital channel and Boy Green channel at 3:15. So that is my call out to you, the fans out in the audience.
All right. Fantastic. Definitely worth your time. And you get in those comments. If you super chat in or super sticker in your comments, you can get those questions answered right away. We will bump you to the top of the list.
Yes.
Also, if you're a member, especially if you're a higher level member like Diehards and Hall of Famers, we will bump you, dare I say, to the front of the line, get your questions answered a little bit quicker. But we do that live with Joe Bartle every Friday to allow it to be interactive with you guys. So please take advantage of it. We'll be doing it all season long. Joe does a radio spot, and then he comes off the radio 15 minutes later. He's on with us, hot off the radio, giving all of the people in our leagues advice. So take advantage of that. It's a really, really great way to get some good advice on fantasy football. Joe won't steer you wrong. He's not always right.
Yeah.
Neither is any fantasy expert out there. But he'll give you some good rational arguments to make a decision one way or the other. Sometimes I take Joe's advice, sometimes I don't. That's just kind of the way it goes. All right. Well, listen, folks, appreciate all of you being in the room today. Again, if you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button on the way out. We are closing in on 1,000. We're almost there. So help
We're
get
29
us
or 30 away. Yep.
All right. Fantastic stuff. We're closing in. That's a landmark for us. We're about to go over 400,000 views, Boy Green. We're about to pass that landmark as well.
Excellent.
But we're still, in the grand scheme of YouTube, still small potatoes, and we need every single one of you to click that button to help us become a little bit more important in that YouTube world. Therefore, we can get our product out to more and more people and make this an even more interactive space than it already is. All right. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to our sponsors, Northeast Roofing Professionals and the Floral Gardens from the Allen Floral Group. We will see you for Joe Bartle live on Wednesday. If you haven't already caught up, Friday, thank you, at 3:15. I got it this time. All right. Got that time. Boy, I'm going to show up in front of my computer 11:15 probably. 3:15, Joe Bartle live. And we will see you then. Don't forget, Jets content already out there. We talked to Nick Faria a couple of days. Ed Valentine is already out there. Very good interview I did with him. Please disregard the, Calvin Austin is going to make the roster thing, because obviously that happened just a little bit after I talked to Joe Bartle. That I talked to Ed Valentine. But there are a lot of great pieces of information in it from Ed. He has been at practices and been at camp. It's been great. And Anthony Prohaska, we'll be doing that interview with him tomorrow evening. So we'll have that out tomorrow night for members and on Friday for everybody that's not a member. Okay, so great way to get up to date on Jets, Giants, and Bills from the All New York Football Podcast. All right, Boy Green, as they say, so long. We'll see you, folks. Take care.